credits! I didn't think I was gonna get them. Oh, awesome. Okay, we did it. First things first. Let's turn this way down. Okay, first things first. The bottom center of the screen says that we've beaten 11 games in 2024 and 458 since we started doing this in 2020. Those need to be updated. We've now beaten 12 games in 2024 and 459 games since we started doing this in 2020. Awesome. Awesome. We did it. Okay. I have so many thoughts on this game. I don't know. I'm going to have to try and go quick. Okay, so here's what's up. Most of this game gets better as it goes. It doesn't ever get great, but it does get better as it goes. This game starts out as a complete fucking mess. It is a mess. There are so many mechanics, RNG, stats, things crammed into this game that it is almost impossible to keep track of all of it, and it is all going on at the same time. It is a disaster. It is it's probably the messiest game I've ever played. So I haven't looked at all the post-launch hate yet, but all the pre-launch hate that was worried about some of the live service stuff, some of that stuff is warranted. But it's not just the live service stuff. That's part of it. That stuff makes it messy. All the loot stuff, the loot crate stuff, and the the online stuff. But honestly, when it came to the online parts and like the skins and all that stuff, I completely ignored it, and that part was fine. There were like 8 tabs in the menu, and I just ignored like 5 of them. I looked at the loadout and the skills and like the contract things, and that was it. That was pretty much it, and that worked out okay. But this game, it's got so many mechanics going on, and so here's the issue: when you start playing this game, if a game takes forever to allow you to actually really play it, for it to like let the training wheels off and let you go and really play it, like half the game almost. It takes forever for the game to like let you go and like, okay, you can just kind of just do whatever you want, right? And actually play the game. The way that this game works for the first few hours, is you get a cutscene, you get these walking scenes where you have to listen to a bunch of stuff. You get this mission start screen. Here's the mission start. Let's get this message out. Boom. And then you get to play for like 2 minutes to do the mission. And which is fun. That part's fun. The combat's great in this game. And then you complete whatever the objective. Mission completed. Here comes another screen. Here comes a big loop thing coming out from the space. Oh, here's some items. You gotta look, and there's 80,000 stats on each item, and and there's like 7 different things on the screen while this is happening, and then you got a skill unlocked and blah blah, and it's just doing that shit over and over. Like, you know what it feels like? Have you ever played one of those more modern slot machines? As someone that doesn't know really anything about slot machines, I went to Vegas one time and I went up to a slot machine, and it's like 9 different things happening. I just hit the play button and it's like boom, 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 but all I get to do is hit play, right? That's why slot machines weren't fun to me, because it's like you hit this one button, it's like oh, you lost $50. Okay, you want to hit the button again? You hit the button again. All this noise, all these fucking bright colors and noise. That's what this game was. All this bright colors, noise, cutscenes, jokes, little one-liners. Fucking loot crate comes out of space, and then you get to play for like 45 seconds. You get to fight something. You get to do some objective, and then back to the fucking nonsense, back to the noise. And some of it makes sense, and most of it doesn't, because it doesn't. It would take hours for it to explain everything that's going on in the game. There's so much shit, and it's not so much shit like Baldur's Gate 3 where it's like really deep RPG mechanics. No, it's a bunch of bullshit, mostly. It's just a bunch of garbage that's happening. They could streamline this game, and there are a lot of things about this game that are really fixable, you know, because the combat's really fun. The boss fights in this game were awesome. They were great. I loved them. It's sad that most people that bought this game probably won't see a lot of them because they're going to play the first 3 hours of this game and be fucking exhausted. And they're going to give up. And that's probably what a lot of the reviewers did too. I'm not saying this game is good. Let me get there. But especially the first third of the game is just like you get to play very little. You know, there's a lot of cutscenes, there's a lot of garbage. They could streamline this thing by taking out instead of giving me loot rewards or whatever at the end of the mission and just coming out from space. That's not satisfying. Don't just hand me a shotgun. By the way, the very first shotgun I used for 95% of the game. The very first item I got was a legendary shotgun, and I used it for 95% of the game. Loot grind is broken. That doesn't make sense to get a legendary immediately. That's so good it carries you through 95% of the campaign. So that's one problem. But the second problem with the loot is that don't just hand me loot. Can you let it fall off, drop out off of the boss, drop off of enemies instead of like fucking shooting it at me from space? It's just not satisfying. And that's not all. It's like and then there's a cutscene for the loot. There's a cutscene for the mission being completed. There's a cutscene for the fact that you've unlocked some skills. There's a cutscene that's after that's actually a little bit of a story. And then you walk 500 meters or you traverse 500 meters with a boomerang or whatever you pick. And then it starts over again, and you get another cutscene, and then it's not really a cutscene, but you can't run during it. You have to walk, and you have to just listen to this exposition dump. And then it's, and then you get to fight a little bit more, and then there's like a cutscene introducing this new mission type. It's just like, fucking dude, you could cut like 80% of that shit out and make this game a lot more palatable. It's so rapid fire. It's off-putting. Off-putting is not the right word. It's atrocious. It's repulsive. It really is. All of the numbers and the stats and the fucking different abilities. I didn't understand like half of the 75% of the combat mechanics. The combat was still fun, and I beat the game anyway. But I didn't understand most of what was going on half of the time. I had a few core combat moves that I understood. But like as far as like the background stats of like all the upgrades that I got, I didn't understand half of it. And the skill tree. The skill tree's broken. It's not broken. It's fucking 3-year-old skill tree. You don't really have much of a choice in what you get. You have 3 different skill trees. Your skill points are specific to those trees, so it's not like you get to build one out before the other. It builds out evenly. And sometimes you have a choice of like 2 or maybe 3 skills to choose from, but a lot of times you don't have a choice at all. So really, the skill tree is just kind of an extra fun way for you to look at how your character's growing. You don't have a lot of agency in it. It's a lot of fucking noise. It's a lot of noise. That's what a lot of this game is. It's just a lot of fucking noise. But, there are some really good things about this game. It's really good combat. The combat's really good. The boss fights were really good. All of them. Every single boss fight was great. They were really fun, man. They were some of my favorite boss fights of the year. Of course, we're only a month into the year, but they were great. They were really good. Some of the mission structures I thought were good. You know, it's a lot of this like base A, B, C. You know, you've done it before if you played Destiny or fucking, you know, but some of them, but they were fun. I enjoyed them. Some of the humor and the story was fun. It was good. It was well acted. It was well voiced. It reminded me a lot of like Guardians of the Galaxy, of like these anti-heroes that are like blah, 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 jawing at each other the whole time. Some of it was a little cringe and a lot of it was pretty tacky, but there were some moments that it was fun, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy was. So the story had some bright spots. They just fucking took a beautiful bed and shit in it. is kind of what happened. It's not worthless, but you got to clean the shit out and look past that if you're going to enjoy it. Because there's just a bunch of garbage in this game that does not belong. They packed this game way too full of garbage for you to be able to pay attention to what you're fucking doing. I had no interest in doing any side content in this game because it was tiresome. I just didn't want to learn how to do something else. I'm already doing my very best just to follow along with all of the RNG and stats on my weapons and blah, blah, blah. I don't need any extra tier of gear. I'm doing fine with what I have. By the way, game was fucking easy. I died 4 times in the whole game. The revive system in this game makes the game basically impossible to die, except during boss fights. All 4 of my deaths came during boss fights. That's the only time you can really die. I played on normal. You can play on harder. I'm sure there's like world tiers or whatever. That's probably why. The game, now you're really playing the game. When you've beaten the game or whatever, now you can, now the real challenge begins. Fuck that. I'm not doing any of that. The game shouldn't be this easy starting out. Okay. I breezed through this game. Rocksteady, man. This is the last thing I'll say. Rocksteady toiled blood, sweat, and tears for a decade, almost, working on this Arkham universe, working on what Batman was like, what these other characters were like. This game takes those characters and just fucking pisses on them. Like, all the stuff with Batman is fucking sad. It's just really a bummer that that's the way that Batman has to go out. Rocksteady, this is my question for Rocksteady. You want to make this game? Fine. You want to make it with all this bullshit in it? Whatever. Do you have to make it in the same universe? Why does it have to be the same universe? Can you make it in an alternate universe? Because now you've just canon killed your Batman. I mean, you killed the Justice League in this game. I don't imagine that's too much of a spoiler. And there's some other characters that show up that it's just like, what are you doing with these characters? These are beloved characters from the Arkham universe. Some awesome characters from Arkham Knight. Not too many, not a lot, but there's like 2 or 3 that show up that it's like, these characters have just turned into your bullshit peddling machines. And some of them, if you want to kill one off in a moment that's just kind of really anticlimactic, then okay, fine. You've just basically flushed your whole universe down the toilet. Why did you have to make it in the same universe, Rocksteady? That was a dumb move, I think. Make it alternate universe. You're already... I don't want to spoil anything, so... that's mainly what I'm going to shut up there, but I will say this. Parting words. This game does get better as it goes, because all of that hand-holding and blah, 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 blah. First of all, you start to get a little desensitized to it. But secondly, it does let go a little bit as the game goes on. It lets you just kind of play the game a little bit more, especially after the halfway point. But it takes forever to get there. But the game does get better. And the boss fights almost make it worth it. I'm not saying that it does. And here's the thing, and here's another last thing I'll say. This should be the last thing. I am a sucker for rarity-based loot systems. I fucking love them. It's some of my favorite games are loot shooters like this, which is part of why I was really excited about this, because I knew it had a rarity-based loot, or I figured it had a rarity-based loot system based on the whole live service thing. And so I was really excited about that. But don't just hand me a gun after a mission's over and say, here's your reward. That's not fun. I need it to drop. Can it be a random drop? And I found out later, it's fixed drops. It's not even random. That's not a loot game. That's just fucking any story mode weapon. What? They took a beautiful thing in this game, and then they put fucking whack-ass pink paint all over it, and now it looks like shit. But it does have its moments. I'll leave it with there. I'll leave it at that. I have no idea where I'm going to rank a game like this. I really wanted to like this. All right, that's it. We did it. This is the part of the game, I'm sure, where it'll tell me, hey, your adventure's not over, you motherfuckers. I'm actually going to just stop. I'm done. I don't even want to look at whatever the post-credits cutscene is. I don't even care. I saw my credits. I'm good. Last order of business, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking, but there were parts of you that were fun, so thank you for that. We are now going to delete you from our console and never play you again. Bye-bye. Peace.